What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, shout out to Sports and Fitness Rants, all right? So I saw his video talking about these clowns on YouTube that have this podcast called Worst Takes Podcast, I think it's called. And they had this list of, I guess each one of them had their own list of top 15 power forwards all time. And each one of them had Draymond Green as a top 15 power forward. And I believe all of them also had Draymond Green on each card or each list ahead of Bob Pettit. Now, mind you, these are the same Nimrods that are going around shitting on Wilt Chamberlain. You know, talking about one of them, an especially idiotic YN, talking about how Wilt was a stat merchant. I mean, these guys talk in such a stupidly ignorant, self-hating, loathing, just low IQ manner, man. I don't normally like talking like this, man, but I swear, like, I just gotta keep it real, man. You know, I'm not gonna say it on YouTube, man. I say it I would say it on the page. I'm not saying it on YouTube, man. It's just, let me put it like this. Sports talk has devolved to a point where it's idiotic, idiocy, real life idiocy. Okay. Now, just because you're young doesn't mean that you can't talk about sports from a historical perspective per se, but you can't make an all-time list and then say, just because you're fucking lazy intellectually, well, because I didn't see them, I'm not going to include them. Well, just say the top 15 power forwards I've seen, or the top 15 power forwards of the past 15 years. Don't fucking make an all-time list because you just want to put one out there and then add all these fucking qualifiers to it. First of all, Draymond Green is not, nor would he ever be, in the same, look, Bob Pettit's elderly farts are more impactful than Draymond Green would ever be. Bob Pettit, first of all, I think most of us would agree from a statistical standpoint, the evidence suggests that Bill Russell is probably still the greatest defensive player the game has ever seen, right? So he is above Draymond Green historically. Did you know that Bob Pettit had some great games against Bill Russell? Some great games. Do you know why that's the case? Because Bob Pettit, unlike some of the players of his era, had a good mid-range jumper. Bob Pettit, when he was a kid and when he was younger, when he was in college, Bob Pettit was like 6'9", 205 pounds. Bob Pettit used to be more of a face-up player, primarily a face-up player. When Bob Pettit turned professional, or matter of fact, I think it was his last year in college, he began weight training, which Sports and Fitness Ranch was talking about. Bob Pettit began weight training, putting on muscle to the point where at his absolute peak, Bob Pettit was almost 240 pounds of muscle. And he began working on his ability to score with his back to the basket in the post. So that by the time, I would say 2 to 3 years into his career, he was a multifaceted player who was the most dominant scorer in NBA history before Wilt Chamberlain. It was Bob Pettit that had the highest career scoring average before Wilt Chamberlain. It was Bob Pettit who scored 2,000, I believe it was 102 points, the most points ever in a season before Wilt Chamberlain. It was Bob Pettit who was the first league MVP before Wilt Chamberlain. Bob Pettit was the all-time leading scorer briefly for like a year or two before Wilt Chamberlain. It was Bob Pettit who had career averages of 26 points and 16 rebounds. It was Bob Pettit that is one of only, two players to win a championship in the Bill Russell era. The other being, I'm talking about as far as superstars are concerned, the other being Wilt Chamberlain. Bob Pettit scored 50 points in that championship deciding game. I think it was game 6, or was it game 7? In 1958 in NBA Finals. I know he scored 50 points in the deciding game. I think he had 50 points and 19 rebounds in that closeout game for the St. Louis Hawks. Bob Pettit, when I was growing up, was considered a top 3 all-time power forward. All time. Meanwhile, Draymond Green, when Klay Thompson and Steph Curry were injured those years, remember when Klay was out for 941 calendar days? Remember when Steph was out with the broken hand for most of that season? Where was Draymond Green? The same dude that the media was telling me was better than Charles Barkley if he actually played on a bad team. No, what I remember was a Draymond Green who was a fucking bum. I remember a Draymond Green who would purposely get thrown out of a game if it was on national television if he didn't have somebody putting a battery in his motherfucking back because he couldn't lead a team to shit, and he knew it. He knows he ain't shit, but he's a media fucking creation. Okay, and his prime, he was a good, really, really, really good defender. Not top 10, as the media would have you believe, but he was a really good defender. But as an all-time top player at that position, fuck no, he ain't top 15. Are you out of your mind? The same dude that we call triple single? The same dude that had almost no impact in the 2022 NBA Finals at all? That dude? The highlight of this motherfucker's career is that Defensive Player of the Year award and that one series in 2016 where he played like an all-star. That's it. And a couple other series where he played okay. For the most part, this dude's been a fucking bum. But anyway, let's just name some power forwards that are better than this motherfucker in NBA history. And this is just the ones I've come up with in the last 10 minutes from thinking, right? This is over 30, I believe. Tim Duncan, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Bob Pettit, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Anthony Davis, Chris Webber, Elvin Hayes, Rasheed Wallace, Amari Stoudemire, Bob McAdoo, LaMarcus Aldridge, Pau Gasol, Kevin McHale, Dennis Rodman, Blake Griffin, Zach Randolph, Chris Bosh, Sean Kemp, Kevin Love, Jermaine O'Neal, Antoine Walker, Kenyon Martin, Dave DeBusschere, Vern Mickelson, Kevin Willis, Vin Baker, Sharif Abdul-Rahim. That's just 30 right there that, in my opinion, are better than him, right? I would argue, on the grand scheme of things, I would argue Horace Grant was a little better than him. He's a better scorer. A little bit better rebounder. Much better offensive rebounder. Draymond Green has the advantage when it comes to playmaking and defense. But Horace Grant was a good defender too. Tell you another guy that pops in my head just right now. Tell you another guy that's better than him at the power forward position. Larry Nance. Not the son. Larry Nance in the 80s. He was better. I'll tell you something else who was better that pops my head, because I didn't even think about the ABA. Oh, my God. What about George McGinnis? Now, you could consider him a small forward, but I'm going to put him in the power forward. He's better. Dan Essel was better than him. What are we talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Spencer Haywood was better than him. Am I lying? Come on, man. Oh, boy. Connie Hawkins. Connie Hawkins was better than him. The Hawk. Way better than this dude. What's that, 35? Man, we really just went down and looked at the list of players. Matter of fact, I would say, what's his name? Larry Smith, Mr. Mean. He's better than him. Do we consider Anton Jameson a power forward or small forward? Do we consider him a power forward or small forward in this situation? Anton Jameson was what, 6'9", 235? Okay, for the sake of argument, I'll consider him a small forward, right? I'll consider him a small forward. So I'm not going to include him. But, yeah, y'all. It's looking real shaky. It's looking real shaky. Real shaky, man. And I know it's some players that I'm not thinking of right now from the top of my head that's better than this motherfucker. Tom Chambers. Tom Chambers. Terry Cummings. Terry Cummings, folks. Terry Cummings is better than him. Come on, man. Draymond Green. Oh, because he got 4 rings, courtesy of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Because I thought the argument was from his boss, LeBron James, his boo thing, that we look at rings too much, right? But funny when Draymond Green, then it becomes about rings. Fuck this clown, man. I'm out of here.